like I was trying to decide between the Razer Viper and the G Pro when I was on the Zowie S2, or I mean the Model O minus. I mean the Razer Viper has rubber sides to it. It has a better scroll wheel, better sensor, better side buttons in my opinion. It's lighter, and you don't have to plug it in and charge it. There's just a charging port, like I mean charging dock, where it's held by magnets. But honestly, if you already have the G Pro, the Razer Viper is not worth the upgrade to the Razer Viper is not worth the $150. But if you're trying to decide between the two, I'd personally go with the Razer Viper. With the G Pro, the side buttons are really small. They're almost like the Model M minus, and that annoyed me.
Okay.
It takes some getting used to. Like if with the Zowie mice, the side buttons are really big. It definitely takes some getting used to if you decide to swap. But yeah, the G Pro is probably better for you if you really like that hump.
Is it good to have a big mouse pad, or does it really matter on your style of your play? So if you have a
It
fingertip,
really limits your confidence if you have a small mouse pad, I think. Because on console, a lot of people tell me that, oh, console players going to PC, they're just as smart as other PC players, so they can play really smart on console. That's mostly not the case, because when those smart players take the lack of control that they have on their aim into account for certain gunfights, so they tend to skip on certain gunfights. They tend to like hold back, just hold angles, so that they can win their gunfights more frequently. They don't just run in and start killing everybody. Same logic applies to mouse pads, because I honestly don't understand why lower elo players sleep on mouse pads and they just run no mouse pad, because that can damage the glides on the bottom of your mouse. And it just doesn't feel right when you don't use a mouse pad. You got to put a lot more force. It's like more of a dead zone in terms of force you're applying to your fingers to move your mouse on the desk. But yeah, bigger mouse pad equals better gun skill, I think.
Why should people use a soft mouse pad rather than like one of those hard ones?
Well, with the hard ones, there's a lot less friction. There's kind of a sweet spot in terms of friction, because this Zowie GSR, the one I have, has a bit more friction than like a QCK Plus from SteelSeries, or like a HyperX mousepad, because mostly if your muscle memory is good, it keeps you from over flicking or under flicking to people's heads. And with the hard mouse pads, there's almost no friction to it.
So
and you kind of have to with the hard mouse pad, I'd say you would only do well with it if you're a wrist aimer. Like if your wrist is just stationary and it doesn't move, then you can have a little bit more control. But personally, just stick with the soft mouse pads.
Are you a wrist aimer? You're an arm aimer, aren't you? Like you use your whole.
Both, mostly. Like if I'm trying to 180, I'll use my arm. But if I'm ADS with an ACOG and I'm trying to round a corner, I will use my arm. But if I'm just standing still, flicking, and someone just appears on my screen, I will flick with my wrist.
Do you ever hit your keyboard while you're flicking? Does it get annoying? Because I do that sometimes.
No, because my keyboard is at a 90-degree angle, and it's pretty far from my mouse pad.
Was it always comfortable at that 90-degree angle, or did you have to get?
Yes, it's. Well, I mean, you progressively, if you like a tilted keyboard, and the more you lean in, the more you keep your back straight, the more you'll want to lean your keyboard towards that 90-degree angle. Yeah, and yes, I do it for comfort at the same time.
So, do you know your PC specs off by heart, or is it
i7 7700K, RTX 2080, 16 gigabytes of RAM, 3400 hertz, Asus Z170A motherboard, CX750 watt power supply, 2 Samsung 850 Pro SSDs, both are quarter terabyte each, with one 3 terabyte hard drive. The PC case, I forgot the name of it. It doesn't matter, honestly. And the CPU cooler, it's an AIO like water cooler, but I also forgot the name of that one.
Okay.
It's some kind of lesser known brand.
So what monitor are you running right now?
The Zowie XL2540, 240 hertz monitor.
Do you feel a difference between 144 and 244 personally?
Yes. But if you don't game all the time, then it's not really going to make much of a difference. It's like, but 60 to 144 is like night and day. There's no question about it. But 144 to 240, it only really makes a difference if you play every day for hours.
Okay.
And your PC can put out 240 frames.
All right. So why do you use earbuds rather than a headset?
A few reasons. One, I never want to get used to headphones if I ever play at a LAN, I can just plug in earbuds and I'm fine. Two, I like to move my head around. Three, so like if I move my head around with a headset, they most likely fall off. Three, I don't get headphone hair. So if you've been playing for hours, take your headset off and there's just this imprint in the side of your heads, or in the sides of your head, I mean. Yeah. From the headset. Four, I like to hear what's happening around me outside because I'm in my own room, and if I had a headset and someone just walked in just opened my door, I wouldn't be able to hear them. And
so
yeah,
maneuverability and
yeah, and being able to hear around me outside of gaming. And honestly, I don't notice a difference between. I kind of prefer the audio with earbuds.
Okay. I mean, I got the same earbuds that you have, so you've influenced someone.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm officially an influencer.